Many of you will be concerned about diastasis recti and will want to prevent diastasis recti throughout your pregnancy. So in this video, I go through the techniques and strategies that you can employ to reduce your chances of having diastasis recti or reduce the severity of diastasis recti. Now, it's really important to say that some studies show that up to 100% of women will have some degree of diastasis recti by the end of their pregnancy. And we've come to understand that this is a normal physiological adaptation to the growing abdomen. It's in order to create space for the growing baby. And there are some studies that suggest that it may have a protective effect on your pelvic floor. It's also really important to note that we don't completely know what causes diastasis recti, and speculation about what causes diastasis recti is mainly extrapolation. It's thought that putting excessive demand on your abdominal muscles during pregnancy and during the postpartum period, when those muscles are weakened and the connective tissue is weakened and stretched out, may increase the severity of diastasis recti. So that's what we want to avoid or reduce during pregnancy. So let's talk about the different factors that we believe might contribute to diastasis recti. Notice my language here. Some people talk very definitively about diastasis recti, and research just doesn't back that up. However, these things are current best practices, so try to implement them during your pregnancy and stay tuned for more updated information over the years as we learn more. So first of all, bulging. When there is very high demand, a lot of load on the abdominal muscles, they tend to bulge or cone. As your abdominal muscles get more stretched out and weaker during pregnancy and postpartum, when the muscles are in that weakened state, they will also bulge during certain exercises that place a lot of load on those muscles and the connective tissue. Remember, this is a pressure system. So if a lot of intra-abdominal pressure is going towards the anterior abdominal wall, they will bulge or tent or cone. I've created a video on this showing you what this looks like in this core basics section. So go and check that out and learn about what causes that in your abdomen. Number 2, front-loaded exercises. As your pregnancy progresses, we will be removing exercises like planks and push-ups because the load on the anterior abdominal wall is likely going to be too great, as those positions require a great contraction from those muscles, but also the load of the abdominal organs is also sitting on those muscles. Remember, we want to modify before we emit, so we might take push-ups to an incline rather than just taking them out altogether. We don't want to remove all demand from the abdominal muscles. We just want to reduce the demand on the abdominal muscles as and when they need it. Number 3, direct core work. As you move into your second trimester and you begin to show, we're going to remove direct core work like crunches and sit-ups, as these are likely to cause bulging. The nature of abdominal exercises changes at this point to more of a stabilizing role, so something like a Pallof press. Exercises where we're preventing movement, so preventing rotation or preventing flexion or extension of the spine rather than creating it. Number 4, establishing good breathing mechanics. This involves both directly addressing breathing mechanics, making sure the upper abdominals and diaphragm aren't overactive, learning how to breathe into the pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles. There's an entire tutorial on this in your core basics program. And then establishing certain breathing patterns during exercise. So blow before you go has become somewhat of a mantra for pregnancy and the postpartum period. Breathing out through the effort, breathing out through the hard part of the movement. This helps reduce intra-abdominal pressure and reduce demand on your pelvic floor and your abdominal muscles. It also helps your pelvic floor and abdominal muscles to recoil and hopefully triggers their slight contraction and return to baseline through the exhale. Finally, it's believed that there is a large genetic component. Some women are more prone to diastasis recti than others. So next time, choose better parents. All jokes aside, there is likely an element of this that you just can't control. So it makes sense to do the things that you can control to prevent putting excess pressure, excess demand on those muscles. Remember, excess is key here. We don't want to remove all demand on those muscles. We do still want to challenge them. We just don't want to challenge them excessively and cause doming and bulging. Some women will do everything right and they'll still have diastasis recti. Some will do everything wrong and they won't have diastasis recti. That's just the luck of the draw. Remember to control the controllables and let go of everything else. Finally, I want you to remember that diastasis recti occurs to varying degrees. If you are 2 weeks postpartum and you have a little gap between your abdominal muscles and it's kind of soft and you can poke your finger in, that's not a diastasis recti. It's probably going to get way better and be just imperceptible in a few months, especially if you do the right things. There is way too much of a stink made of diastasis recti on the internet. Technically, it's a gap wider than 2 centimeters or 2 fingers, and there would need to be quite a lack of tension in those tissues in order for it to qualify as diastasis recti. So you should be able to get your fingers in quite deep. Again, if you can just get the tip of your finger in, that's not really diastasis recti and it's not something to worry about. Just follow my complete postpartum program, find the level that you're at and increase the demand on the abdominal muscles gradually over time, and it will likely improve massively whether you have a severe diastasis or just a very small separation, which is completely physiologically normal. Don't freak out about this, don't overcomplicate it, don't fall for the hype online. Just follow these guidelines and don't do anything that really obviously puts tons and tons of demand on those abdominal muscles, and you will likely be fine. Check out all the separate lessons of this core basics program, which will break down all these different things that I've talked about in this video.